Mary?
Ms. Cantillo? Here. Mr. Barton?
Here.
Ms. Pacala? Ms. Woolrab? Ms. Gagliardi?
Here.
Ms. Hafner?
Here.
Mr. Lamella?
Here.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Jim.
The New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Brick Township Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be posted on the Administration Office Bulletin Board, the official district website, and channel BTV 20, and sent to the Asbury Park Press, the Brick Times, the Star Ledger, and the Municipal Clerk's Office.
I need a motion and a second.
Motion.
Second.
Whereas the Brick Township Board of Education has been formed pursuant to applicable New Jersey statutes, and whereas the board is charged with the responsibility of performing all acts and doing all things consistent with the law and the rules of the State Board of Education, necessary for the lawful and proper conduct, equipment, and maintenance of the public schools and public school property of the Brick Township School District, and whereas Section 7 of the Open Publics Meeting Act permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting of the board in certain circumstances, and whereas the board has determined that circumstances exist for such an executive session, and whereas the board has found the action described below to be necessary and proper, now therefore be resolved by the board on June 1st, 2017, that the public shall be excluded from the discussion of and action on the executive session herein set forth. The session will be approximately 45 minutes, and the general nature of the subject matter to be discussed is harassment, intimidation, and bullying reports, interim superintendent's contract, litigation matter 7233, potential litigation SC. It is anticipated at this time that the above stated subject matter will be made public if and when it is deemed to be in the public interest to do so, and the need for confidentiality is no longer required by the board.
Ms. Cantillo?
Yes.
Mr. Barton?
Yes.
Ms. Gagliardi?
Yes.
Ms. Hafner?
Yes.
Mr. Lamella?
Yes. Thank you. All right. Mary, I need a motion to return.
Motion.
Sharon? Second. A second?
Second.
Victoria is a second.
Ms. Cantillo?
Yes.
Mr. Barton?
Yes.
Ms. Pacala?
Yes.
Ms. Gagliardi?
Yes.
Ms. Hafner?
Yes.
Mr. Lamella?
Yes. Everybody please stand.
Halt. Left. Face. Present. On.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. A moment of silence, please. Thank you.
Order. On. Left. Face. Forward. March.
Please be seated. Thank you. Mr. Gilnella?
Thank you, Mr. Lamella. We don't have our representatives from the two high schools tonight because of different activities that are happening. End of the year, there's a lot of different things that are happening, and our students were involved in a couple of things that we did not want them to miss, so they are excused tonight, but we do have our students from the STEM Academy to do a presentation. Ms. McNamara, you're going to introduce them?
Thank you, Mr. Gellinella. Good evening. It's my pleasure to introduce the STEM Academy students from both Brick Memorial High School and Brick Township High School. We have several of the staff who are part of the STEM cohort of teachers with us this evening. Danielle Ventrillo, who is the geometry teacher, Jackie Castellano is the biology teacher, Danelle Godick-Johnson is the English teacher, and Dan Nagel is our STEM teacher. I want to take this opportunity to thank Mr. Walter Hersenko, our science supervisor, for coordinating this effort this evening. I know he is as excited as I am to hear all of the great things that these students have been doing this year. So without further ado, I will bring up Mrs. Castellano and Mr. Nagel to introduce the students from each high school. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Jackie Castellano, and I just want to start by saying what an honor it was to teach these students this year. It was one of my best years. They are an amazing group of kids, and I'm so proud of them every day. With Brick Memorial, we have tonight Sam is over here. We have, Connor, Jimmy, Jack, Marla, Cynthia, Gavin, Mike, and Alex. That's from Brick Memorial. Oh, and Nick. Oh my goodness, and Nick. Yes, we can't forget Nick. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dan Nagel. I'm the engineering teacher for the Brick Township STEM Academy, and I've had the pleasure to work with the students in both high schools this year. The first semester, first half of the year, I was here at Brick Memorial, and currently I'm at Old Brick with the kids from the other side of town. It's been a great pleasure to work with these kids. They're an extremely bright group of individuals. So from Old Brick, we have Paige Bainey, Stephanie Manfredi, Tierney Garkowski, Isabel Eisenstein, Chloe Roselle, Patricia Ding, James Bazidlo, Stephen Pash, Sean Fogarty, and Tom Zarzinski. So without further ado, I will turn the floor over to the students. They will be presenting their information from a year-long project that they've been carrying out since, actually before September, since August, when the project was first kind of conceived, and you'll hear all about their data that they collected, and they'll be sharing with you tonight. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Paige and this is Stephanie, and this is our carbon footprint project. On average, one high school student can use up to 660 pounds of paper each year.
The STEM Academy has The STEM Academy has decided to create a system to help reduce the carbon footprint on our environment. The carbon footprint is the amount of carbon dioxide that is put into the environment.
By decreasing the carbon footprint, we can help create a cleaner, greener, and more efficient community here in Brick Township, New Jersey.
We hope to add to the district's efforts for greener schools.
Good evening, my name is Tierney. Before I begin, I'd like to thank you for giving us the opportunity to present our project to you. As with any project, we have a list of goals that we'd hope to meet by the conclusion of this school year. One of them was to use the paper and the data that we've collected and calculate the amount of CO2 removed from the atmosphere. Another, to raise awareness of recycling importance, to improve the existing process for recycling in our school and eventually develop a more efficient recycling process, and to overall make it easier for the township to collect recyclables all throughout Ocean County.
Hello, I'm Connor, and I want to be explaining the hypothesis. The hypothesis for this project is if we recycle paper and work to reduce our carbon footprint, then we can save many trees. With those spare trees, they will absorb carbon dioxide and release more oxygen into the atmosphere.
Good evening, I'm Jimmy, and I will be explaining the collection process for BMHS. It's really straightforward, so like Mr. Nagel said, we started planning in around August, and it carried all the way into November. Once we finalized our plan, we sent out an email to all the teachers in the school, and we told them basically what we were doing. The teachers were responsible for a blue bin, like a recycling bin, and twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, they would leave it outside between 9:45 and 10:05. Then we would come around with boxes and collect all their paper they had built up through the week. On Tuesdays, we collected downstairs, and on Thursdays, we collected upstairs. There was a bi-weekly email that was sent out to every teacher explaining what we had done that week and our totals for each group that week. Paper was then transported to room 151, and that is where we put it into bigger recycling bins and carried it out to the street for the town to pick up weekly.
Hi, I'm Isabel, and I'm going to be explaining the collection process for Brick Township. Currently, we utilize the blue recycling bins in each classroom. Teachers are responsible for keeping the blue bins paper only. PSA posters are posted around the school to remind students and teachers to recycle paper. Emails are sent bi-weekly to faculty as reminders and developments. STEM students, us, will collect blue bins from each classroom, one section of the school each day of the week. Each student is responsible for a group of classrooms each day. We usually collect them during first block towards the end, 8:25 to 8:35. Teachers notify the STEM class when extra pickups are needed. The paper is then transported to room 224 and stored in larger blue bins for town pickup.
Hello, I'm John, and I'm here to tell you how what the cycle the paper goes through. So after we collect the paper in the blue bins, we put them to the curb where the town picks them up and takes them to the processing plant. From there, they are washed with soapy water to get the ink out, and this mixture that is made is called slurry. The paper is then dried out and sent to distributors to be packaged and distributed to whoever may need it.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Cynthia, and this is my fellow classmate, Marla. Tonight, we will be explaining to you the Brick Memorial High School results on the paper collection.
Based off 5 months of our collection process, Brick Memorial High School has collected a total of 2,148.8 kilograms of paper and 4,734.2 pounds of paper, and we've saved a total of 56.7 trees.
With the number of paper, the kilograms of paper we collected, with that we were able to calculate the amount of carbon dioxide potentially produced, which was 1,237.4 kilograms, and the amount of oxygen potentially released based on the trees saved, which was 6,690.6. And back here, these were some posters that we put together to show each group's data collected with graphs and conclusions and introductions.
Good evening, and my name is Chloe, and I will be discussing the BTHS results. By collecting, we got a total of 3,813.27 kilograms of paper, which is 8,406.81 pounds, which converts to 84,000 sheets of paper. And we saved 100.68 trees and a total of 2,204.2 kilograms of potentially absorbed CO2, and a total of 11,916.47 O2 potentially released, all in 9 months.
Hi, my name is Patricia, and I will be presenting the results. So the yearly results from Brick Township High School is 8,406 pounds. Total from Brick Memorial is 4,734 pounds. In total, the township, we have collected 3,140 pounds of paper, which is sent to the recycling plant, which put into perspective is 262 boxes of paper, and total trees we saved is 157.
Hello, my name is Gavin, and I will be discussing some of the challenges we faced while doing this project. So some of the problems were garbage in the recycling bins. So we sent out emails that we only wanted paper in the recycling bins, but classes would continue to put like bags of chips or water bottles and other garbage in the recycling bins. And some classes were uncooperative, like they would forget to put the bins outside on their collecting days, or sometimes the kids that we would knock on the door for, they would mess around, like make faces in the windows. And that like slowed us down, which we didn't want. And some boxes that we collected in, they would fall apart. Like sometimes we had too much paper in them and they would just collapse. Substitutes were unaware of the procedures on collection days. So if a teacher was absent and they had a substitute and that was their collection day, the substitute would not be aware of that, and that would slow the process down, and we would interrupt the classes, what we were trying to avoid. And also schedule changes like testing, like the park, force changes in the collection routine.
Hi, my name is James Bizidlo, and I'm presenting the future plans of this recycling program. In the future, we will continue to present data and conservation plans at community events such as the Green Fair, pictured in the bottom right corner. Next year, we will be doing the same thing. One of our goals is to refine our recycling program with the new STEM classes and start collecting other recyclables, such as glass bottles, plastic bottles. And lastly, we wish to increase school participation. As said in the previous slide, garbage is ending up in our bins, and we feel some people don't care much about recycling, but it really is a big deal to our atmosphere and the way we breathe.
Hello, my name is Michael, and I will be explaining both STEM Academy's concluding thoughts as we reach the end of our school year-long project. This project demonstrated that a simple task, such as throwing paper into the recycling bins rather than the trash bins, can make a positive impact on the environment. Paper will always be used in schools. However, our efforts to repurpose the paper will reduce the negative environmental issues that come with larger scale paper use that take place in schools.
Hello, I'm Alexandra, and I will be presenting some more concluding thoughts. We would like to thank everyone who supported our ideas and helped to make this project a success. We'd also like to thank all of our STEM teachers for all the time and effort that they continued to put into our project. We appreciate everyone's continued cooperation, and we hope you continue to support us next year. Thank you.
I thank the students for coming tonight. I know all of these students are busy with other things on their schedule. We appreciate the time, and we also appreciate the work that you've done over this whole year for this very worthwhile project. So thanks for your efforts, and congratulations to your teachers for leading you in this project. Thank you. Mr. Lamella? I'm sure they want to stay, but if they want to leave, they can also.
Thank you. Well done.
Like the past talking. Yeah. Everybody was involved.
Thank you, Mr. Gilnell. Again, thank you, students. We appreciate your time. Teachers, staff, thank you. Approval of minutes from the last meeting. I'll need a motion and a second.
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion from any board members on approval of last month's meetings? Last month's minutes? Wow. Seeing none. Mary?
Ms. Cantillo?
Yes, I'm going to abstain on executive session, and yes on the regular meeting.
Mr. Barton?
Yes on both.
Ms. Bacala?
Yes.
Ms. Gagliardi?
Yes.
Ms. Hafner?
Yes.
Mr. Lamella?
I have to abstain. I was not present. Committee reports. Curriculum and instruction.
Curriculum instruction met May 10th, actually, and we reviewed the technology survey results. There were 1,401 responses to the survey. We were encouraged by the fact that the majority of the respondents indicated that they have the devices for themselves and for their students to work at home, and that they're connected to the internet, so that we can plan for further use of such things as the Google Classroom. There was an update on standardized testing. The PARCC test was complete at the elementary and middle school and has since completed at the high school. And we discussed Camp Invention for the students entering kindergarten through 6th grade, which will take place June 26th to June 30th for a fee at Emma Haven School. All good stuff.
Okay. Thank you. John, facilities?
The Facilities Committee met, myself, Mr. Gialinella, Mr. Edwards, Mr. Culbus, and Mr. Rydell. First for discussion was the Vets parking lot. We didn't extend it really. I believe it was a late input from the architect. So we don't have the bid out yet. It's coming out shortly. And because the bid we're following protocol and doing everything right with that, we're going to contact Mr. Lamella and make a special meeting date to have those bids approved when everything comes in with that. Moving on, the pipe seal, where the little man walks through the pipe for about a mile underneath the parking lot, will happen June 12th. We should probably have a ribbon cutting for that. It's exciting. Brick High School East parking lot improvement will be performed, and we have money on the agenda to be transferred this evening for that project. The baseball fields at Brick Memorial High School have a drainage issue. It's been ongoing. We've looked at several methods to affordably repair the drainage problems and make the repairs work. Unfortunately, we haven't come up with anything that is going to be cheap or affordable. Not cheap, but affordable. So it's going to be a costly project, and it's ongoing in discussion at our facilities meetings. Track improvement, Brick Township High School, we had 8 bidders come out for a pre-bid meeting. Same with Warren Wolf School, there's a lot of interest. 20 bidders attended a pre-meeting for Warren Wolf Elementary School roof. Moving into the Windows project, we call it the Windows project, but it's extended because now we have to finish the project. So there's floor repairs and painting that is going to be done. And we're working on finding the people that can paint and do that work for us at an affordable cost. Mr. Colbus stated that all of the lead testing was completed during the week of May 22nd, and the results have been posted ongoing on the district website. Our local government energy audit will be completed soon, so we haven't heard too much from that yet. Our power purchase agreement, the solar project, we had a few leaks. Those leaks have been resolved, and right now everything is in operating and test mode for the solar panels. Boiler, Brick Memorial High School boiler and gym floor repair is scheduled to begin June 20th of this summer. Another big project going in the district. Emergency lighting has to be inspected. Those are emergency exit signs. We just have to have that finished up with an inspection. This summer, there's quite a bit of work going on. Doors at Brick Memorial High School, Brick Township High School, and Veterans School. In the past, doors were not approved doors, so there's a process that we're following, so we don't have to worry about whether they'll pass inspection at the time that they're inspected. Everything will be predetermined and followed according to what's expected for code. There is a bleacher at Lake Riviera Middle School. Lake Riviera Middle School gym floor, Midstreams Elementary gym floor will be done. Emma Havens Young has a drop-down screen that will be done. the overhang lighting on the foyers for both, I think it's Midstream's foyer and the Vets Middle School.
Just Vets Middle School, Mr.
Just Vets Middle School? So that's overhang lighting is going to be worked on this summer. Asphalt repair, we're looking for quotes for Brick Memorial, has some repair work in the back of the school with storm grates, some handicap and curbing work at Brick Memorial High School, board office, Brick High School, Emma Havens Young, everybody needs asphalt work. The parking lots are at the age where it's going to have to be looked at for safety reasons. Lake Riviera Middle School has I guess it's getting old. Lake Riviera Middle School, the gas main has to be replaced. New Jersey Natural Gas is coming out and going to run a line from Beaverson Boulevard all the way back to the back of Lake Riviera Middle School for us. And Lake Riviera Middle School also has a purchase order to inspect possible rust issues, lintel rust issues in the structure, in the roofing structures. And finally, the Laurelton School, Mr. Montenegro is reviewing a subdivision option for us to do something with Laurelton School. It's just sitting right now, not doing anything. We'd like to be able to do something there. And our next meeting date, July 6, 2017, at 10 a.m. in the morning. Thank you.
Thank you, John. HR, Victoria?
Yes, this month the committee met with Mr. Gianella and Mr. Cranston. Items were routine, to define routine. They were items such as the guidance summer hours being budgeted for, the base camp employees and budget, and another example would be the child study team hours that were given out by workload this year. Everything seemed to be routine.
Thank you. Stephanie couldn't make it. I didn't realize that until late. She let us know. Jim, can you just give a brief overview of the finance meeting?
Yes, sure. Finance Committee met May 22nd, Ms. Bacala, Mr. Barton, Mr. Gianella, and myself. We went over the energy savings improvement plan history with the district and gave the Finance Committee an update as far as where the Facility Committee is in looking at that as a process. We discussed the pharmacy benefit manager analyst competitive contract that we received. We received one response, but it was non-compliant. Probably at the July 13th board meeting, we'll be asking the board to reject the response, and we're asking our insurance broker to assist us with that process. We discussed that there is funding available to do the Brick Township High School East parking lot. So we're asking for an increase in the amount that was put into the budget for capital reserve. That's on this evening's agenda. We discussed additional legal services for both Mr. Montenegro's firm and Mr. Kalak's firm for Schwartz Simon. We discussed the school bus capital lease, which is on the agenda for this evening for board approval to be able to purchase the school buses. That was part of the budget process. Discussed the competitive contracting for property and casualty broker that was opened on May 24th. As you can see on the agenda, that's on for rejection due to a substantial change in the overall specifications. We discussed the competitive contracting for workers' compensation broker. We have an award on this evening's agenda. And then we went over a lot of the professionals that are on this evening's agenda, such as financial advisor, bond counsel, architect, civil engineer, LDTC, legal counsel, employment physician, school physician, insurance broker for health insurance, differentiated learning software, substitute teacher services, substitute paraprofessional services. We discussed the auditors and the fact that we need to obtain a new quote from the auditors for the 16-17 school audit. We talked about the Naviance contracts that will be placed on the July agenda. We discussed the property and casualty carrier and the quotes we received through New Jersey School Insurance Group, who is the best carrier quotes we received, which is on this evening's agenda for approval. We discussed the workman's compensation TPA medical insurance TPA, medical insurance aggregate and stop-loss insurance prescription TPA, and the dental, medical prescription and dental premium rates, all of which are on this evening's agenda for approval. Discuss shared services with the Foundation for Educational Administration, which is on this evening's agenda for approval. Discussed having the board approve using competitive contracting to obtain a consultant for class action settlement management. We've been made aware that there is some class action settlements in regards to technology components that we've purchased in the past that we may be eligible to receive money for. And then we went over some legal status issues in regards to special education matters.
Thank you, Jim. Interim Superintendent's report?
Thank you, Mr. Lamella. Two things, and there's a lot of things going on, as I mentioned earlier, between ceremonies and upcoming promotions and graduations and proms and different things like that. I really want to center, though, on one particular thing at Lanes Mill. There was really a near tragedy at Lanes Mill when one of our custodians in the morning fainted and heart stopped beating. That's the bad news. The good news is that the team at Lanes Mill really went into action. They had been trained using an AED. We had staff members started CPR, used an AED to revive that staff member before the medics got there and brought that person to the hospital, and he is recovering. But we will, in the future, bring the staff members to thank them for that effort, but it was really an outstanding effort by a number of people, the administration, secretaries, staff members, and really did it in such a professional way that the students entering the building didn't even realize it was happening. So we're very proud of that and happy with the ending, not the beginning, but in the future we will bring in those staff members for review and for thanks and for some type of ceremony. The other thing is I want to mention, because of the facility committee report that Mr. Barton gave, and this is going to be a surprise to most board members because I haven't reviewed it with the board, but two items that we plan on doing this summer are not on tonight's agenda: the parking lot at Vets Middle School and the parking lot at the high school east, the east parking lot at Brick High School. We do want to do those this summer. We are working on getting those out on the street for bids and then opening those bids and approving them. We are looking at near the end of the month and having a special meeting just for that, and perhaps a few other things, but not many, a very abbreviated agenda. The most important thing being on there is going to be those two bid openings, and if we get them under budget, we can move very quickly and have them done this summer. So we're looking forward to that, and I'll be polling the board members over the next week. We would hope to have it on Monday, June 26th at 6 o'clock. If we can get 4 or 5 members available at that time for a very abbreviated meeting, and I will be reaching out to all the board members to see if that time is good for them for that abbreviated meeting. So I will be talking to all of you soon about that. Thank you, Mr. Lamella.
Thank you. Curriculum and instruction?
Excuse me, Mr.
I'm sorry?
Lamella.
Go ahead.
Before we start the agenda, I would just like to thank our interim superintendent and Mr. Edwards for the assistance and understanding that they gave me in a very difficult situation. I have been required to give a legal statement to a governing body in my role as a board member. I have had to hire my own private counsel in order to protect myself and also to protect the school board. That charge is a hardship, and I don't think any one of my fellow board members would want to go through testifying or go in front of any legal body of government without the benefit and comfort of an attorney at their side. The statute reads that the Board of Ed is not required to pay for my private counsel because I am not named in the suit, which I am not. But I was told by Mr. Montenegro's office that if I were to bring the bill to my fellow board members and ask them to consider paying it, that they do have the ability to do that. I feel extremely disappointed and disrespected at the outcome of the discussion tonight. You know, there is an old-fashioned saying that today me, tomorrow you. And no one has, I don't think, could contemplate the amount of, or the enormity of the legal situations that this board has faced. I, for one, never did. I don't like being included in things that really don't concern me, other than my role as a board member, and I am extremely disappointed in the outcome of my fellow board members. I feel disrespected, and I do not feel that this is a team, and I just hope one day that you don't find yourself in the position that I'm in and have people do to you what you've done to me tonight. Thank you.
Okay.
And with that, I think I'm going to leave because I have surgery tomorrow. I have a medical condition to correct a hearing loss, a profound hearing loss, and that was one of the reasons why I was instructed to bring an attorney with me to these proceedings, so as not to misinterpret or not be able to hear or not have the benefit of a counsel to help me out with that. And even that didn't make any difference to my board members. So with that, I think I'm going to leave because I don't really want to spend the last few hours before my surgery with you tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Curriculum and instruction?
Thank you, Mr. Lamella. Under curriculum and instruction, the interim superintendent recommends the board approve the following items 1 through 4.
I need a motion and a second.
I make that motion.
Victoria?
Second.
Any board discussion on curriculum and instruction?
Mr. Lamella, excuse me, we didn't catch the second down here.
Oh,
That was
second
me.
was Melita.
Melita, thank you
Melita,
very
I'm
much.
sorry. Any board discussion on curriculum and instruction? Anyone in public have any comments on the curriculum and instruction? Sir, please come up.
Walt Campbell, 655 Mark Manor Drive. I'd like to congratulate Ms. McNamara on the STEM Academy. It was tough getting it off the ground to begin with. It's been a long sled. That's a first class out. What I'd like to know, what are some of your future aspirations? Is it limited by money or a place to put it all together? Or
Sue.
robotics and so forth?
Sue, you can answer the curriculum question through the chair. Go ahead.
We're continuing to grow our STEM Academy, and we'll continue to grow our offerings for the STEM Academy each year. We're looking to move forward with an advisory committee so that we can find internships for our students. And we are, as always, looking for other options in terms of grant money or funding from the state to provide opportunities to continue to grow our STEM Academy rooms in each of the schools. The important part here is that we grow this program in such a way that these students are prepared both for college and career as they choose their path in terms of STEM.
Okay. Down the road, I know it's very difficult at this time, but how are we going to get into the other aspects, the engineering part of it? And
Well, the engineering part, I think that Mr. Nagel spoke to a little bit today. He is the engineering teacher. They have a current first-year course that he takes the students into. He's growing that into a second-year course, and we'll be discussing the components of that over the summer as we write that curriculum to meet the standards associated with it. Beyond that, we'll begin to look then to see what the next steps will be and where we have to focus our energy, a little bit based upon the tracks and the areas that the students want to pursue in STEM, so that we're growing that program to meet their needs, but also so that we're growing a program that's comprehensive for all of the students' needs who enter into the academy. Finally, we're looking to attach the academy to a college academy, so that if those students would like
That's
to
what I was
pursue
wondering.
college credit, they will be able to do so through Ocean County College, and in some instances even achieve dual credit both at the high school and at the college, and perhaps And this is a big leap, Mr. Campbell, but
But
perhaps
it's-
have students
hey,
who graduate
time.
in their senior year with both a high school diploma and an associate's degree. So those are our plans moving
That's great.
forward, and we.
No, I just thought
And
maybe
hope
you were going
for
to get a little
continued
status
support.
quo here. It's excellent. Thank you very much for
Thank you,
pushing
Mr.
it.
Campbell.
Thank you. Seeing no one else, Mary?
Mr. Barton?
Yes.
Ms. Bacala?
Yes.
Ms. Gagliardi?
Yes.
Ms. Hafner?
Yes.
Mr. Lamella?
Yes. Operations?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Lamel. The interim superintendent recommends that the board approves items 1 through 32 and 34 through 49.
Okay. I need a motion and a second.
Motion.
A second?
Second.
Victoria is the second. Any board discussion on operations? Seeing none, any public discussion on operations? Please come up. Please.
Vic Finelli, Meadow Point Drive. Did 33 get scratched?
It did.
Okay. That took care of one of my questions. We're moving right along.
33. I had him pull the reference.
On 46 and 47, that's the NJSIG insurance. I was just wondering what was covered there. Under 47, it says commercial package 599. What exactly are we insuring? And my second question is, the third item on there is school board legal for $117,000. And I need to understand what that is, and if it's what I think it is, how come that didn't cover what Sharon was talking about?
Jim, can you expand on those, please?
Sure.
And you need to speak in the microphones.
And item 46, the commercial package includes general liability, auto insurance, boiler
A little closer,
insurance.
Mr. Edwards,
Yeah,
to the microphone.
I don't want to get too close tonight. I was told that I spoke too loudly at the last meeting, so. And school board legal liability, school board legal is our errors and omission insurance for the district. Got it. Oh, okay, commercial, the commercial package includes general liability, auto insurance. It's basically the general liability umbrella policy for the district. And the school board legal is the errors and omission insurance for the district.
What?
Errors and omissions?
What does that mean?
I'm not an insurance guy, so I couldn't tell you, that's what it's called, errors and omissions.
Can anybody tell me what, I mean, is that, it seems like a pretty big item for
It's actually,
school board legal, that's why I'm questioning it.
it's covered every year, Mr. Finelli, and it's actually, the total commercial package and school board legal is a decrease from what we've paid in the past, so it's less. It's our errors and omission insurance, so.
Here's my thing, okay?
Well, let me give you an example of what errors and omissions covers. So, not to get too much involved in cases here, but if a teacher is accused of doing something while performing their duties as a teacher, and they're being sued by the student or the parents of the student, the errors and omissions policy would be the coverage that kicks in to cover that teacher for them acting in their duties.
Okay, I understand.
All right?
School board now.
That's what, the school board legal is our errors and omissions. That's just what it's called for schools. It's called school board legal. It's for the errors and omissions insurance.
Oh, so it really doesn't have anything to do with,
Well, it could. I mean, if the board members were sued for something, that they could be covered by that policy as well.
okay, I didn't hear everything that Sharon said. Was she in court for something that had to do with her being on the school board?
I'll defer that to legal. I don't know that I should be responding to that.
She was subpoenaed to be, well, you're right here.
No, but I want it on record, thank you.
It'll be on record. She was subpoenaed to be a witness. She's not a target in a criminal investigation. She was subpoenaed to be a witness. She asked for the insurance coverage, and the insurance indicated it did not provide that type of coverage.
Okay. So she had to go to court without legal representation from the school board?
She didn't go to court. She went before a investigation committee as a witness. She was asked to be a witness,
In her capacity as a school board member?
based on knowledge she had as a school board member.
And you people didn't support her?
That decision has not been finalized.
Sure sounded like she thought it was.
I can't speak for what she assumed happened. She was there, though.
Okay. Thank you. You will allow me just a little discretion before everybody leaves, and I get a chance to not say, the presentation that the students did on the recyclables, I missed the first couple of things, but I want to be very quick, but I want to be very reinforcing. First of all, I missed a couple of things, but I don't know if anybody talked about that the money recycling saves. But if Mr. Hachenko maybe can bring this back to the students, if you don't put it in the garbage, it goes in the recycling. We pay by ton to dump the garbage, so for every ton you don't pay, the township saves money. Also, the other end is for everything you recycle, you get money. So all the trees and the gases and everything else you're saving, they're also saving money. So reinforce that with them. The other one is the last meeting had a presentation on the students with the plastic bags. One of the biggest problems in the recycling centers is the plastic bags screwing up the machines because people put the plastic bags in the recyclable bins. I'm hoping that all these students go home, practice what they learn, and then get their parents and grandparents and everybody else to do all the recycling. But give them my attaboys and girls. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Please come up.
Through the chair to Mr. Barton. Concerning the high school track.
Go ahead.
Okay. A few questions. First off, this architect that's doing this track, is this his first track?
Jim, do you know if this is the architect's first track?
I do not believe that to be the case. They gave us a reference of at least 2 other tracks that they've done in the state of New Jersey. So no, I would not say that this is their first track.
Well, how come they didn't know the difference between a high school and a college track, 6-lane and 8-lane?
You're asking me to answer a question that I can't answer.
Well, it was a big difference in price, wasn't it? That makes me nervous.
Well, let me just interject that there are high school tracks that have 8 lanes.
Okay, now in this bid for the asphalt, which is a special blend for the track, by the way, how many of these 4 remaining individuals here have experience with laying asphalt on tracks? Did anybody check that out? Because this is very critical. Because I see where 3 of them are in basically the same ballpark, and I got another guy that dropped down about $116,000. Something's not kosher there.
Mr. Campbell, as I know you're familiar with, having been on the Board of Education,
No, I'm familiar with how to build
we
a
have
track.
to, well, I'm sorry, but let me just finish, and I'll tell you what I think you're familiar with anyway. I shouldn't have said I know, you're right, let me clarify that. I think you're familiar with how public works jobs need to be publicly bid, and the Board of Education is legally responsible to award to the lowest responsible bidder.
I understand that.
Responsible bidder is vetted through the professional, the architect and engineer, who look at the bid documents that were submitted, check the references that were included, and then make an award recommendation to the Board of Education. So the lowest responsible bidder that is being recommended is on the agenda this evening. They are below the other vendors. And they are being recommended after being vetted and reviewed by the architect and engineer. So the board doesn't, it's not a matter of can the board then choose, well, we don't really like that vendor because we heard that they did something wrong somewhere else. We don't really have that the opportunity. We're legally bound to accept the lowest responsible bid.
I understand that, unless Did these guys do their homework? I'm still hung up on the fact they didn't know the difference between a 6-lane and 8-lane tracks at different institutions, which leads me to believe on this asphalt, which is the most critical part of the track. I mean, you got a difference of 116,000, something's not up. Now, can I see this stuff tomorrow morning at your office?
Can I ask a question, though? Because I think I'm confused with the way that you're presenting your question. It sounds like you're saying that the bid, the one that we're planning, or the one that's on the agenda to have the bid awarded to that company, drew the plan for the track. That's what I'm getting from your
Yeah,
conversation.
and Mr. Barton, thank you, because I was going to ask the same question. The architect and engineer, they draft the specifications, the bid documents, and the plans that then go out for public bidding.
Right.
All of these contractors are bidding on the same thing. It's apples they're bidding on, right? They're not bidding on, one's not bidding on apples and one's bidding on oranges. They're all bidding on apples. And so the bids that they're bidding on include the same course-based pavement that you're talking about. All 4 vendors bid on the same thing. One vendor just happened to bid a better price.
Okay, now.
So they don't get to choose how they want to build the track. They got to build the track according to specifications.
That is correct. Now, is there a perimeter drain around this track?
Mr.
Like
Campbell, you're
at Brick
asking
Memorial.
questions that I don't have right here in front of me. Of course, we'd have to look at the actual drawings, which,
Okay.
they're voluminous. If you'd like to come in and look at the plans,
Yes.
you can certainly do so.
Thank you.
They're, as you know, they're blueprints. They're large. You can come in and look at them. We'll spread them out on the conference table for you. You can
All right.
look at them all you want.
Okay, I'll be in here tomorrow then. Yeah, because there's some other things but I need the plans for that. But just seemed a little unusual. Everybody's basically in the same ballpark except for one. And there's got to be a reason for it. But I'll find out tomorrow. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, excuse me, one other thing.
Go
We're
ahead.
not getting into number 33, correct?
We are not.
Okay. Can I discuss it at the end?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thanks. Karen Cusinelli, 113 Duchess Lane. With regards to number 18, NW Financial, is there a not-to-exceed amount on that appointment?
Jim?
They're not being approved
I'm
to.
sorry.
They're not being approved to do any work at this time. They're only being named as financial advisor of record.
So there's no dollar amount associated
There's no,
with that?
yeah, so at the time that the board needs to utilize their services, that would require a separate board approval.
Okay. And is that the same thing with number 19 for bond counsel?
Correct,
And in number 20 with Netta Architect of Record?
correct. They're all just being named as record. The Department of Education requires us to annually have all of these services named of record.
And since this is a new year, do they have to file new political disclosure forms each year with us?
The fair and open ones do not, the non-fair and open ones do.
And in number 23, for the appointment of legal counsel, that was not a bid, correct? That was an appointment?
Number 23 was a fair and open process. That was RFPs that was done at the beginning of 2016.
Okay.
So
And
that was a fair and open process.
that's higher than last year?
The amount of money that's being budgeted is in line with the amount that's being requested for the current year.
I'm sorry, could you say that again? I had a hard
The
time.
amount of money that's being approved is in line with the amount of money that's being requested for the current year.
Okay, so that's higher than the previous year, correct?
Then last year's approval, yes.
Okay. And in number 26, Fairview, for the insurance, that $80,000 figure, is that the total amount for broker fees? There's no other additional costs to Fairview from us?
Correct. That's all, their full compensation. Since we're self-insured for our medical and prescription, we control how the commissions are paid, so we pay them the commission direct. The carrier doesn't pay them anything.
Okay, and so there's nothing else as far as being a third-party administrator or anything like that?
Nothing else.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Seeing no one else, Mary?
Mr. Barton?
Yes.
Yes.
Ms. Gagliardi?
Yes.
Ms. Hafner?
Yes.
Mr. Lamella?
Yes. Okay, fumbling through. I'm sorry. Let me get that, scroll down. What am I on next? I apologize. I lost my place. Human Resources? I apologize. Thanks, Tom.
The interim superintendent recommends that the board approve numbers 1 through 33.
I need a motion and a second.
Motion. Make that motion or a second.
Okay. Victoria and then Daisy. Any board comment on Human Resources? Any public comment on Human Resources? Please come up.
Thank you. Karen Cusinelli, Duchess Lane. On number 29, the summer transportation runs, I just noticed something kind of unusual that I wanted some clarification about. I see that the school district is paying for the Summerfest drivers. I know in the past we've always, as a shared service, allowed the township to use our buses, and we've absorbed the wear and tear and the gasoline. But I noticed that now we're paying for the drivers. I noticed that it did say that the town would reimburse us, but when do they reimburse us, and why do we have to incur that in our budget?
I know we're being reimbursed. You know the process that we're using?
Yeah, Ms. Cusinelli, that process is no different for, oh goodness, long before I even got here. So that's been the process that's been in place for a long time. We've always paid the drivers and always been reimbursed by the township.
When do we get reimbursed, and to what account does that go?
It goes back into the salary account that they're paid from, so it's a net zero to us, and it's budgeted that way as well. It's budgeted as a, salary being paid out with a amount being received by the township into that account. So it doesn't really reflect as an expense in the budget at all.
So when do we get that? Is it one lump sum at the end of the year? Is there,
we bill them monthly and they pay monthly.
We bill monthly and they pay monthly?
Correct.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Please, come on up, sir.
I have some questions and comments about 9 and 10, and since we weren't able to discuss the BT ASA contract because we didn't have the information, I'm going to do it now, unless if I go too far off the track and you want me to do it at the end of the meeting, please let me know. In the slide that's in the package, it shows the salaries for all the administrators, both tenured and non-tenured. But this is not their total compensation, correct? It's the total pay, not the total compensation. Okay. And nowhere have I ever seen any other information presented to the public except if you open the contract and look at it. So I'd like to share some of that information in case board members don't know it. All right? If you have an MA plus 15, you get $1,000. If you have an MA plus 30, you get $2,000. If you have an MA plus 45, you get $3,000. If you're a PhD, you get $4,000. I guess that's the same as the teachers. What I didn't know was the next part. If you're a principal in a high school, you get an extra $12,725. Principal middle school, $8,725. Principal elementary school, $7,225. If you're a school level director, you get $7,225. Assistant principal, high school, $37, right on down the line.
Okay.
Supervisor.
Mr. Finelli?
If I can just make sure we're clear on that. The numbers you're looking on the agenda include the amounts you're talking about.
They all include those dollar amounts.
Those numbers are included in the salary?
Yes.
When you said it's total pay, that's what we mean, total pay.
So all of that is included in?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Those numbers stay the same for 3 years for everybody but the district directors. The first year, they get $9,225. The second year, they get $11,225, and the third year, they get $13,225. Why does it go up for the district directors and not go up for anybody else?
District directors is a new title in this contract. Those are the people who work in central administration that evaluate and oversee the principals. It was the board's belief and my belief that reflecting their responsibilities, they should be paid appropriately.
So
Remember, we don't have assistant superintendents. We have district directors who do a...
It's because it's a new position?
No, it's not a new position. It's a position when you remember clearly that when we reorganized central administration, we created different levels, and district director was one of the levels we created.
You changed things.
No, the board agreed, and that was a work that the reorganization was done with many administrators' input.
Okay, and that takes care of the next part. I'm curious as to, in 2010, we had 32 administrators in the district. In 2016, we had 37 administrators in the district, and in 2017, we have 38 administrators in the district. So since 2010, we've gone up 6 administrators. During that same time period, we went down 1,517 students and 26 teachers. My question is, with the declining numbers, why do we keep increasing the amount of administrators we have?
Well, number one, Mr. Finelli, I would question your numbers because...
They're not my numbers, sir, they're yours.
I would believe that somewhere in 2008-9, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Philippone, because you were here then, we lost about 7 or 8 administrators. Is that correct?
That is correct, Mr. Keno.
Okay, so probably in the overall, we are down administrators from 2008-9 in total. The increase in administration this year in that unit is not a new position. It was a position taken from one unit and changed to another, and that's our Director of HR, Mr. Cranston. So it wasn't a new person, it was just changed from one unit to another unit.
So we went from 36 to 37, but we really didn't go up one?
No, not in total employees, no. We went in that unit, we went up one, but in another unit, we went down one.
Well, I have all the reports here.
Good.
And I count names, all right? And I count the numbers alongside the names. So I counted the numbers, and I counted the names from last year, and I counted the numbers, and I counted the names from this year. And last year, there was 37, and I admit, on last year's, Dr. Caldez was not on the list, but I added them. And in this year, there's 38. Now, I didn't go through them to see what name appeared that wasn't on the list before, but I can tell you, one says 37, the other says 38. And by the way, they're not my numbers, they're your numbers that I read off of your reports.
And again, if you looked a year before that 2010, I think you would get a different perspective. But of course, you've chosen 2010 as your starting point. But overall, I think from 2008-9 in that area, if we're up any administrators at all, I'd be surprised.
Well, I have no way of knowing if you went down 7, 8, or 9 administrators in 2009, although, I mean...
Right, because you started at 2010.
Seems to be an awful lot.
We did. Because you started at 2010.
What did they do? Did they all walk out the door?
No, the positions were cut.
Okay, then we only have your word for it.
Okay, do you have another question?
My last question has to do with the contract, all right? I was surprised to see the vacation that's given in these contracts. First of all, most companies in the real world now don't do 5 weeks vacation anymore. They stop at 4. Secondly, I've never seen anybody to give somebody 5 weeks vacation after 5 years. Is there a reason why you did that also?
I don't think that's a change, Mr. Finelli. I think that's been in the contract for a number of years.
Well, maybe it's time to change it.
Or maybe it's not.
I mean, you can grandfather everybody...
Maybe it's not, right? Maybe it is, maybe it's not. You're using the real world, I'm using the real world of education and what these administrators do.
Do
So-
you personally think five weeks vacation after 5 years is?
I do, sir. Thank you. I do.
I wouldn't expect any other answer
Well,
from you.
there you go. And I wouldn't expect any other from you as well.
Okay. So, just remember,
Yes, sir.
this is the year that you're asking the taxpayers to give you another $12 million.
Okay.
I'm going to, at the end of the meeting, I'm going to talk about salaries in general, so I want to talk about the pay
Okay,
raises.
you can
but
do
I'll
it
save
then,
this for
and
the
we'll
whole
have
package.
5 minutes at the end to cover that. So thank you.
Say again?
We'll hope you can keep within 5 minutes at the end. We'll see what you could do, though, right? Because you enjoy this.
I try to do it, but
You do.
I'll tell you right now, all right? You, sir, allowed somebody from the audience 2 meetings ago to come up to the lectern during board comments, which you never allow anybody else to do, and your exact comment was, "You can come up here, sir, because you only have nice things to say." So if you're going to apply the rules, you got to apply them to everybody.
And I'm going to work
Same-
on tightening that up. Thank you.
You might have forgotten that.
That's all right, but I'll work on tightening that up. Thank you. Seeing no one else, Mary?
Mr. Barton.
Number 20, I'm going to abstain on two numbers. Number 21, line 64. Number 9, line 20 and 24, because I have to abstain. And yes to the rest.
Ms. Bacala?
Yes.
Ms. Gagliardi?
Yes.
Ms. Hefner?
Yes.
Mr. Lamella?
Yes. Okay, now closing public comment.
We're done, right?
Seeing no one, board comment. We'll start with Daisy.
Okay. I just wanted to thank everybody for coming out tonight.
I'm sorry? No, we just voted. I said this is closing comment. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see any hands. I didn't see them, I apologize. Come on up. I didn't see any. Oh, it's okay.
This is number 33 concerning a referendum.
Yes, sir.
Before you even think about that, when are you going to present to this district your operational audit, district-wide? How many times have we asked for that? And you ran on that as a clean slate for 2.5 years. Sir?
I believe that was one of the things that Stephanie was going to champion and she wanted to see come to fruition. Jim, I believe you've had that discussion.
We've had,
With Stephanie.
we've had several audits of the district. We audited our professional organizational chart. We audited our special education department. We followed up on a number of facilities programs that needed to be audited, corrected, added to. We had more than several opportunities to go over administrative positions. Anything else you can think of, Mr. Jane?
What do you have in writing?
Pardon me?
What do you have in writing?
Stephanie, just let Tom answer. Go ahead, Mr. Jones.
Well, in writing, we have a special ed audit. We have
Not interested in special ed audit.
Well,
It's
part
the
of an
entire district.
It's part of an operations audit, and that's what I'm trying to answer.
Okay, but do the whole district.
We have.
Don't try to, sneak out the back door.
Can he answer? You've asked it 4 times. He's trying to answer, and you won't let him finish.
Because you always come back with the same answer. We did a special ed audit. That's not what we're looking for.
So we're not here to argue. He's giving you an answer. You don't have to like it, but he's giving you
All
an
right.
answer, so
I
let him finish.
apologize.
Go ahead, Mr. Jonell.
It's getting old.
Well, since the first time I'm answering, and I think-
Not you, no.
Like I said, we have a special ed audit in writing. As Mr. Finelli has pointed out, in the very beginning, the board asked me to do an audit on the administration and the organizational chart, which was done. Mr. Kalabas came in and has made a number of changes after auditing the facilities department. So I think we've done a number of different areas. We've as you know, did a number of changes in transportation with Mr. Wilson coming on board. So there's been a number of different department audits. When you ask for an operational audit, and we did interview a company for an operational audit, I think the board looked at it as an unbudgeted expense right now, and we were doing it in-house with some of the professionals that we had.
Well, nothing's changed. Okay. Now, as far as this referendum for $12 million goes, who came up with all these different amounts of money?
Sir, there is no referendum. That was pulled at this time.
What's that?
We pulled it. That referendum is pulled. We're not having a discussion about $12 million. We pulled that, correct, Jim?
I asked you about that. You said at the end I could do 33.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, you're asking questions about a referendum that we pulled. We're not, as of this time, we're not looking to move forward with that. As of right now, that's why we pulled it from the agenda.
Oh, in other words, we can forget about the referendum
As
for
of right now, we're not going to visit that. We may in the future, but as of right now, sitting here, I'm not looking
All
at
right,
it.
I appreciate the fact that you came to your senses on that.
Well, my senses and yours are obviously different. So again, it may resurface, but for right now, this board has pulled it, and we just want to take our time and before we make any decisions. So again, our decisions may agree or disagree, but as of right now, that is pulled. It's a non-starter for us. We want to do a little more homework.
Okay. Maybe you could change that proposal on the referendum to an ESCO proposal down the road.
Jim, here's that ESPO word, or NESPO, so I know you two have feelings on that. Jim, can you go into that?
Hey, we don't have any money in this town. It's the only way to do it.
Yeah.
Now,
I know I'm making...
You weren't here last...
I wasn't here, but I know I'm making payments on other projects too. So we're trying to figure out how to spread the wealth and get things done in a fair way, knowing right now that possibly $12 million might not fly to a taxpayer. But how do we get the stuff done? That's the question. That's what we're trying to do. So
that's what I'm trying to help you out with.
Don't help me with an idea. We have an operations report that shows what order things should have been done in, and we didn't go in that order in the past. And now we have safety issues to address and roofs that are collapsing. And we're trying to figure out how to get there. So we pulled it and we tabled it.
Did you ever get my 17-page report on safety, health, infrastructure that I gave out at the last board meeting?
No, I wasn't here last board meeting.
Well, nobody gave it to you?
No, I didn't get a copy.
Well, you better take a look at it. It's $46 million worth of things. It's $46 million you got to come up with.
Right.
And there's only one way to do it, with a 15-year ESCO. Now, I'm leaving now, okay? But I'm leaving you with an ESCO that a school district did, so you can understand that doesn't cost the taxpayers any money, but we get things done. Is that okay?
I think I'm shocked. I need to hear more about it, sir, honestly, because I'm shocked at how many things don't cost money, and having sit in this seat such a brief time, we're spending money we don't have. So I would love to hear that. So I'll talk to Jim about it, but right now I know this. I don't understand free money because I've never seen it. So I have to get the history on that.
Free money, I think you better look at what it is.
I'll take a look at it.
Okay? We have two gentlemen that live in this town from the BPU that have asked this district to do an ESCO for years to save money. It's always come to a wall. But you don't have any other choice now. There is no money to do what we have to do.
And how did that happen?
How'd that happen?
I don't know. I don't have those answers. I wasn't here. I'm just trying to figure out how it happened.
I can tell you how it happened.
No money.
No money, yeah.
All right, so we'll work on it. Thank you.
Can, in the next, just a minute, please. Your condescending attitude, okay? You're the board president. I'm trying to be reasonable with you, and you just can we dispense with that in the future too?
Sir, my attitude is what it is.
Well, it sucks.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
So does...
Please.
Karen Cusinelli, Duchess Lane. Mr. Lamella?
Yes, ma'am.
You, You mentioned that we have roofs that are collapsing. Could you please let us know which buildings to which you are
Jim,
referring?
which are the next two, Jim?
It's been on
The next two roofs?
Excuse me, we're in the middle of a meeting.
Hey, whoa.
Excuse me, we're in the middle of a meeting.
I'm sorry.
I apologize.
It's all right, brother. It's all good.
I'm sorry, Jim, what were the next two roofs that were, or John, maybe you can answer, what were the next two roofs that were our biggest concerns?
Drum Point Elementary School and Lanes Mill Elementary School.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Drum Point and which one?
Lanes Mill.
Are those, Mr. Lamella, are those the one that you were referring to as collapsing? Because I'm very concerned about the safety when you said that.
Okay. Collapsing, overstated, that need repair. Jim, if you can expand on that to put the safety fears.
Can I interject?
Or John, you may go. I apologize. I use that as an example. I just know they need work, so I apologize.
Okay, because you said collapsing.
Oh, I do,
and
I know. That was
it's-
my overstatement. That was my over-exaggeration. So
Okay, but you have to understand that
Yeah, I
the parents
understand.
and citizens
Yeah.
hear the word collapsing, and it's very unsettling, and it makes us think that there's a major safety issue.
Okay, I understand. Thank you.
Okay. Also,
You don't
with
wanna hear
regard...
from me?
Wait.
You don't-
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Barton. I'm
John
sorry,
wanted to
Mr. Barton.
answer. I wanted him to give you an answer about the roofs. Go ahead, John.
I don't want to raise concern. However, I would say that for the safety and welfare of the workers, the teachers, and the students, you don't have to have a collapsing roof on a school. You just have to have water intruding into the buildings. That creates all sorts of hazards. So the word collapsing sounds, to me, just like we're saying we have a leaky roof. It doesn't sound that drastic, because a leaky roof can cause, imagine what a leaky roof can cause. I'm not going to say it, because I'm not going to put myself in the same position.
Do we
No.
have water that is encroaching in those two buildings as a result of the damage to
Well,
roofs?
right now, we're working on one where the water fills an electric oven when it rains out. So
I'm sorry, could you say that again? I couldn't
the
hear you.
water coming through the roof goes into a kitchen oven, a stove, and it's electric. So we're taking care of it. We are setting priorities, and we're working with what we have to repair as much as we can, and making the plan. We're looking for a future plan without it falling apart, without it just
Well,
coming to an end.
isn't that a grave concern if we have water going into something that's electric? Wouldn't that be something
That's the roof that we're
an
fixing.
emergency?
That's the roof that's on.
It's been remedied,
Right,
correct?
that's been remedied, and that's the roof that we're repairing right now.
With regards to the operational audit that was promised back a year and a half ago by the members of the Clean Slate team, could you tell me, I understand that it has not yet been done, but was there money in the upcoming year's budget for an operational audit? Was that in the new budget?
No, I believe when we had that discussion, we looked at the dollar amount, we decided to do that in-house with the personnel that we have.
Okay, so
correct me
there's
if I-
not going to be a professional operational audit, that we can stop asking about it?
Tom, I believe we have professionals here that can do that audit, and I believe that's the people we put in those positions.
And which job titles are doing that? Do you mean, because I'm just going by all the literature and the interviews and everything, that was a priority for members of the board. We're over a year and a half in, it hasn't been done, and I just wondered if it was still a priority and if it was
is,
put in
and
the budget.
It is, and I believe a part of it's been done. I think Mr. Gilnell alluded to some of that. We've had some of our facilities done, special ed, transportation. Those are professionals in-house that are doing that.
And those that have already been done, what efficiencies and savings have resulted from that? What have you determined that there are cost savings?
The facilities audit that we're waiting on, the local government energy audit, it's going to be completed soon. We keep getting that answer. But we feel as if there's been work in the past and recently, the work that is being done in the schools will show significant savings to the district because of upgrades to lighting, heating, air conditioning upgrades that we've had.
And how much savings and opportunities for efficiencies were discovered in the special education audit?
Tom,
The special education audit dealt with, the main recommendations dealt with staff development and how we handle our least restrictive environment. If there's any monetary savings, that it's going to be through less litigation.
And with regards to the audit for the administration, what efficiencies and savings were realized from that audit?
Never promised any savings. What we did was to organize and organize how the district was running and improve the communication from the schools to central administration and from central administration back to the schools and make some clear lines of responsibility that were not around before.
Okay, and same thing with the transportation audit, there weren't any efficiencies or savings? It's
I
just-
believe we had efficiencies as far as reducing some runs and consolidating some runs, bringing some things back in-house that we were outsourcing, so there was some efficiency there, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Please.
I heard a couple of emotional comments about we don't have any money. I'm going to throw out some numbers just so you understand them, because you might not look at them like I look at them. For the contract for the administrators, the first year that cost an additional $102.9 thousand. For the second year, it cost an additional $105.3 thousand, and for the third year, it cost $107.6 thousand. So by the third year, your salary increases for that one group goes up $315,800. Small potatoes compared to the next one. For the teachers' contract, which went up 3.14% in 2015-16, that year it went up $2.2 million. For the 16 and 17 year, it was slightly less, 3.3, but based on the same bigger salary, that went up $2 million. And for the 17 and 18 year, it goes up 3.19%, which is again $2 million. So for those increases in that contract, it goes up in the third year, $6 million, okay? For the TWU, and I don't want to bore you with numbers, I'll just give you what the percentages were. There's 363 people. They're the lowest paid people, so they probably deserve the pay raises, but it was 5%, 4.75%, and 4.52%. So you wonder where your money goes? That's where it goes. And you do have money for those things. At the same time frame last year, the cost of benefits went up $1.252 million. Attorney fees for 13 and 14 were at $225,000. We're now up to $323,000. So they went up $96,000 or 43% in 3 years. And I noticed on the agenda today there was an approval for another $10,000 in attorney fees. So if you're wondering where the money goes, folks, that's where it goes. And as I said before, that 85%, 86% just keeps getting bigger. Really, you don't have any money? Don't wonder why. Now, as far as the budget goes, for the interim superintendent, at the budget meeting, we had a little conversation about your projection of enrollment increasing by 76 students for the school year. And I asked you, where did you come up with that based on all the things I've been saying about the numbers going down? And your answer was you got it from the demographic study done last year. Do you remember that, sir?
No, but go ahead.
I expected you to say no, but go to the videotape and it's exactly there, okay?
Okay, sure.
All right, now, based on what I said, would you have said that?
I'd have to review it.
Huh?
I'd have to review it.
No, if I asked you tonight why you said why you projected 76 student increase year over year, what would you tell me?
I would have to look at the figures from the demographic report and from the state report and see where we came up with that number.
Okay. Well, you answered that
Okay,
meeting
so,
from the demographic
okay,
thing. So
he answered your question.
I'm going to read to you what you referenced, okay? Bear with me a second while I find it. I'm on page 29 of the report that you probably paid about $20,000 for because the last one cost $20,000. I don't know what this cost, but I'm guessing. And on page 29, it says, total enrollment is projected to slowly decline throughout the projected period and will be at 8,225 students in 2021, which would be a decline of 521.5 students. Somewhere we're going to lose half a student, all right? From the October 2015 enrollment of 8,075. So his projection is it's going down every year, down to 825. We're going to lose another 500 students. If you go to the next page, on page 30, it breaks it out by year, all right? 2016-17, down 80. 2017 and 18, down 133. Next year, down 67. Next year, down 57. Now, there's no way that I could misinterpret this report, as anything but saying, totally reinforcing what I said. So, I mean, I can draw one of three conclusions. You didn't look at this report, or you looked at it and chose to ignore it, in which case we wasted $20,000, or you just said anything to get rid of me. Would you care to comment on?
No.
Would you care to comment now on the report or what it says? Because I read it for you.
He said
No,
no.
and I have to look at the report.
No, you don't want to.
He doesn't want to. He said no. He answered
Okay.
your question.
Well,
Move
my
on.
expectation, just so everybody understands what I expect, when I come up to the microphone and I ask the question, I expect an honest, real answer. If I don't get one, if I get, nothing or baloney or just throw a number out or whatever, this is what you can expect at the next meeting. I'll tell you right now, I won't accept anything but an honest answer. And if I can't get one, then we really have a problem.
Be treated professionally.
There's no way you could misinterpret this, sir.
What
Can
I-
he finish now?
What I expect is to be treated professionally, courteously, and ask reasonable questions and get a reasonable answer.
Okay.
We're both disappointed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I asked a reasonable question at the last meeting, and I got an answer that can't possibly make any sense at all.
Well,
But you're sticking to it because you don't have an answer.
You know
But
what?
I said I would look at the state
Mr.
report.
Faley, we're
and
done.
and-
Yeah,
and-
okay.
That's your comment. It's his comment. We're done.
I have a couple other
Go
questions.
ahead, sir.
You mentioned at the last meeting, the pre-meeting, you were going to talk about the interim superintendent's contract, but then you didn't talk about it, which led me to look at what was in the contract. First of all, somebody tell me whether I'm right or wrong. Is there a rule, a law or something that you can't have an interim superintendent for more than 2 years?
That's correct.
The rule is, Mr. Finelli, that you can have an interim superintendent for 1 year, and the executive county superintendent can extend that for 1 more year.
Okay. And how long have you been here?
This is my 17th month.
You what?
My 17th month.
17th month. Okay, so based on that, they can't renew your contract?
The county superintendent in February agreed to extend it a second year,
Okay.
but that second year is up to the board to fulfill.
Okay, so you're already on your second year?
I am into my second year, yes.
Okay, so the county superintendent cannot extend your contract more than 2 years, so the board can't give you another full-year contract unless they make you the permanent superintendent, is that correct?
The board cannot make me a full-year contract, that's correct.
Okay. Glad we got that settled.
Me too.
So the board needs to do
What
something.
was the question?
Absolutely.
Huh?
Yep.
You need
Yes.
to do something.
Yep.
Which we're going to talk about.
Okay.
Just one other thing. When I was looking at the contract, I was just curious as to vacation time. In the regular superintendent's contract, he was given 4 weeks vacation, 20 days. But in the interim superintendent's, he was given 24 days, or 4 days more vacation. Is there a reason why the interim would get more vacation than the permanent?
My request, and every district I've been in interim, I've requested 2 days a month because it's usually the standard of 25 to 27 days. I don't know what the previous superintendents received, but that's what I've received in my contracts.
Okay, I just told you what he got. You can look in his contract. He's
It
got-
doesn't matter to me.
He's got 4 weeks vacation, so
And we-
I'm not asking you because
We agreed,
you didn't give yourself the contract. They gave you the
and
contract.
we agreed to 24 for him. I did. Yes, sir.
Say again?
We agreed to 24 for him.
Oh,
Yes.
You gave him 24?
Yes, sir.
You gave him what he wanted?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
One last thing. I made a commitment to the last meeting that I would give you some numbers about attorney's fees, so I keep my commitments and I'm going to give them to you. I'm going to give you a little bit of background, and I'm not just for the board's information, because there was a lot of discussion last meeting about acting upon the lawsuit that we're involved in right now, and what happens when you drag it out. And I gave you an example of a lawsuit that was just settled this year, went on for 6 years. 6 years for a lawsuit that was the president of the school board, right? I won't get into the details of what was going on because I really don't know them. All I know is it went for 6 years. In that first year, I offered the legal fees for this particular case, right? I didn't get all I asked for, but I got enough because I don't want to spend all day up here. In the first year, there was 80 separate billings for that one lawsuit. I know the school board attorney does a lot of other things because I got all the bills, and the ones that I was interested in was highlighted. So in that one lawsuit, just one lawsuit for just 1 year, there was 80 separate billings for that one thing. Now, imagine what it comes out to when it goes for 6 years, right? And who knows if it'll get resolved in 6 years, right? The money goes out the door. You want to know where the money goes, you want money for capital improvements, you want money to do all this other stuff, you got to watch every nickel and dime that goes out the door. But I'm not talking about nickels and dimes. I'm talking about big bucks at $140 an hour. That's a lot of money going out the door. You can sit on your hands, you can do whatever you want to do, but the clock is ticking, and then you're going to get emotional and tell us you don't have any money. You have money, but I tell you what, I'm not going to give you another $12 million. No way. And the last thing I have was a comment that we had very few comments at the last meeting, but there was a comment by a board member who said they thought it was reprehensible that members from the audience came up here and attacked school board members. And I guess I'd like to know who attacked who. And was it me? And who did I attack?
Sir,
Don't look that way. You're the one that said it.
Me?
You're the one that said it.
Yeah, you.
I wasn't here last meeting.
Oh.
Do you want me to respond?
No.
I
You're
mean,
allowed to make the comment.
really
It's
feel-
comment section. She's not answering your question.
She's not answering the
No.
question.
It's public comment at the end. You've made your comment.
So please don't tell me or give me that public comment baloney that we can't ask questions. You made a comment about running a professional meeting, so I'm asking a question. She admitted that she said it about me, so I'd like to know, who did I attack? That's all. Maybe I can do a better job. Who did I
I
attack?
didn't admit I said it about you. I said I made the remark.
You said people from the audience, so I asked you, was it me? There was only 2 or 3 people up here, me, George, and Karen, so I'd like to know it was me. I don't want people to feel I attacked them. However...
You can answer. If you don't want to, you don't have to.
You made, did you watch the video?
Oh.
I was here. I don't have to watch the video.
Okay, you made what I would call reprehensible, admonishing, and inaccurate comments about our Director of Curriculum and Instruction and the way she prepares and plans for the direction of curriculum and instruction in this district, and I found it insulting.
Okay. Well, allow me to clarify. First of all...
I really don't.
I know you don't, but I do. Right? I do, so I'll apologize to her right here in front of everybody. However, your statement of attacking school board members, first of all, she's not a school board member. Second of all, I did not attack her curriculum or instruction or anything else. There was only one subject that I brought up, and I attacked the way it was done or it was not done. I didn't call her any names. I didn't say she was incompetent. All I said was, and I quote, "How do you give a presentation on the park results 2 months before the park results come out?" And oh, by the way, I don't think for 1 minute that she did that on her own. Really, I mean, I think she did what she was told to do. And my question was originally, when are you going to do a presentation on the park results? And the answer was, we already did it in February. Well, how did you do it in February when you didn't have it until April? So if that's attacking people, I'm sorry that she felt that way, but if those things come up, I'm going to ask those questions. If you don't like my questions and you think I'm attacking people, that's okay. I'll give you an example of what I just asked
really not
the
okay.
interim
That's right.
superintendent.
Really not
Victoria, just let him go.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I asked a question, I don't get an answer, so.
Awesome. For that $12 million bill.
You want people to come to these meetings, you got to answer their questions. You don't want to answer the questions, you spend all night here.
Thank you. Please, ma'am. Come up.
Hi, my name is Ashley Diaz-Avito. I live on Lawndale Drive, and I am a lifelong member of Bricktown. I grew up here. I went to every school in Bricktown. Mr. Philippone was my high school principal. Miss McNamara was my middle school principal. I'm very proud of the education that I received here in Bricktown. I grew up at these meetings. Some of you may not know, but my mom is Sharon Cantillo. And I am here not only as her daughter, but for the first time as a mother of a student in the district. I'm proud of that as well. I try and talk my fellow graduates of Bricktown to remain in the town, that I remind them that we have a lot to be proud of here in Brick. But as a parent, I'm going to say first, as a daughter, I came here tonight because I knew what was being presented to the school board on behalf of my mother. I can tell you, like I said, I grew up here at meetings. I never understood what everyone was talking about. I just knew that my mom put in a lot of time and a lot of hard work. Correct me if anyone knows if I'm wrong, but I think my mom served about 10 years this year on the school board. And that's a long time. That's a long time for anyone to give of themselves. And for those that do know my mom, know that when she gives of herself, she gives her all. She received phone calls starting at 7 a.m., probably throughout high school for me, about people in the district that had questions, comments, concerns. She would do her diligence, bring them to the school board, and I believe that she has served proudly and done this town its dignity. I think it's, as I'm not sure, Ms. Picala said, reprehensible, I think is a perfect way to explain what transpired today. As Mr. Montenegro put, my mom is not the point of an investigation. She was subpoenaed, mandatory, to be a witness at a grand jury proceeding. She was advised by the assistant prosecutor of the county to bring down counsel with her. She has 100% hearing loss in 1 ear, and I'm taking her to University of Philadelphia tomorrow at 4 a.m. for surgery. And for anyone here to not think that she should be represented, advised, or is not entitled as somebody who has voluntarily served her town for 10 years, I find it disgusting. And I really do hope that none of you are subpoenaed or questioned or find yourself in the same set of circumstances, because it is disgusting. And as a parent coming here tonight, I really did think I was coming here just to hopefully hear good news that the school board rallied around my mom and was going to provide her the support that she deserves. I decided to stay because I was interested in the dichotomy of this new school board. And all I've seen tonight is a horrible exchange between the school board and the members of the public. And as a young mother who has a lot of friends in town, a lot of young children in town, I can't imagine one person feeling comfortable to come up here and share an idea or a concern with you people as school board members. The way that you spoke to the members of the public, and I understand people get adversarial. I don't know her name, but I remember the lady with the clock. I remember when Mr. Bendokas, who I think has since passed away, challenged Mr. Acropolis to a fight outside. I was a child at the time, but I remember these things. It doesn't encourage participation. And in our town where people are fleeing to Wall and Point Pleasant because they see test scores on Zillow and whatever else, whatever the reason may be, I would implore you to please remember why you are in the positions you're in, to treat people with a little bit more respect, and the public as well. These people are volunteer. They're doing this, I hope, of their own, desire to better our town. I've seen what my mom's done for 10 years. But nobody would want to come and bring an idea to you guys. I actually was nervous. I had something that I had to ask my mom to speak to Mr. Gianella about today. My son is a preschool student in town, and as I was dropping him off, there was an inmate work crew doing road work in front of the preschool. And that really scared me. I don't know what those people are sentenced to or why or who would approve that. I know it wouldn't be the school board. I know it comes from the county, and I think it maybe was just possibly a misjudgment on someone's part. But as a mother of a 4-year-old, it's very concerning to think about inmates across the street from where my 4-year-old is going to be dropped off for 2.5 hours. To hear that there's roofs collapsing scared me. I was scared you were going to say the school that my son goes to, because, they're your perfect little people, and you send them out into the world and hope that they return to you the same way. All I can say is that this town means a lot to my family. My brother, I know, Mr. Lamella, I know that you know our family for a very long time. And I know that you helped college search. You've played a big part in my family.
He is a great
For
kid.
years. I even believe you may have coached some lacrosse with me. I don't recall that far back. But anyway, what I'm saying is that we still are a town, and there is, I understand political differences, but I think sometimes it gets lost that we're all here for the same reason. And like my mom said, today it's her, but tomorrow it could be you. She started out, I'm sure, the same reason that you did. Something that she didn't like was going on in town, and she came to a meeting, and she saw school board members back then in, I'm going to say the early 2000s, really, really being nasty to parents and other students that would get up to speak. And that's what motivated her to run for office. And I do believe after reading your mailers, I think Daisy, is that Daisy? Whoever's Daisy? I have a mutual friend with you. She spoke very highly of you, that you are an awesome mom and that you really do put your all out there. And when I heard that you got elected, I said, you know what, maybe she is exactly what this town needs. She's a breath of fresh air. And I was really rooting for you. I just hope that you guys don't forget why you got started. And you also don't forget the people that came before you, because it's very scary to think that my mom, who, again, has given 10 years of her time, a lot of time, is being excluded. Maybe it's politics, maybe it's whatever it is, but it's wrong. And I think you guys know that. And I would like to point that out. And thank you. You don't have to respond, but it's my comment.
Board comment? John?
Mr. Cinco, I enjoyed the STEM presentation tonight. I'm going to be a little crass and say I think that that's probably the first time that we've had a presentation that wasn't sports related at a board meeting. Maybe. Well, no, it was a pleasure to see something at that level, though, and it was probably. I mean, there has been things, but I think that it is more well-rounded when we have meetings that include sports and academics, and that's what it's all about. for the kids. So we have a lot of proms and other events going on right now, and very nearly in the future we have our graduations. So I wish everybody good luck at the end of the year. Keep the push on. It's not over for a couple more weeks. And thank you for your time.
Thank you. Victoria?
I see that there are a lot of promotions going on in the district as far as 5th and 8th and 12th graders, and I just wish everybody the best of dreams and success. And I particularly am grateful for Mrs. Goodfellow, who's sat here all night, as the new principal of Warren Wolf, and especially Mr. Stephen Morelli, who will be a new assistant principal in the district. And I really appreciate your professionalism, your commitment to the children of Brick, and your ability to mentor those teachers and other administrators around you. I know that you're going to do a fabulous job in your new position. Thank you.
Melita?
Good evening. It's June 1st. We are about to conclude another school year. I've had the opportunity as a mother and as a board member to see some of the great happenings and things taking place in the district. I'm proud of, the things that I have seen. Is there work to be done? Absolutely, but I do feel that we are moving in a positive direction. I just hope, looking forward to, over the summer and starting our next school year, that we consider always the students. And in our focus and in our talks and everything that we do, our students come first and they are centered. Sometimes I feel that that gets lost. And I hope that we, as a board and as the public, remember that the students, they deserve the best, and we should keep that as our top priority. That's it.
Thank you, Melita. Daisy?
All right. I, too, was able to attend 3 events since our last meeting. I attended the Senior Talent Show at Brick Township High School, and I was completely blown away by all the acts of the singing, dancing, acting, playing instruments. Wonderful show where they donated all their profits to a teacher who is currently battling cancer, so that was a genuine act of kindness. I also attended the National Junior Honor Society at Vets Middle School. There were 36 inductees that night. I have to be honest and tell you, one of them was my son, so it was a proud mom moment and also a board member moment. It was a beautiful ceremony put together by Ms. Dunn, so I thank her and everybody else who participated in that event, and congratulations to those inductees. And the last event that I went to was the Vets Middle School Chorus Concert. Mr. Kratchik was recently hired as their music teacher, and he did restart their chorus program, so I think that's wonderful. He did it in a short amount of time, so they performed some songs of hope and peace, and I do think that was a really great theme for that show. And just as a nice gesture, I wanted to point out somebody who attended that probably didn't need to be there, but the Brook Memorial chorus teacher came to that event, and I wanted to let you know he went backstage and he high-fived all the kids and gave them tons of words of encouragement and kindness, and sometimes a small gesture like that goes a very long way. So just wanted you to know that behind the scenes, we have some really great staff and teachers here in our school, and we should really appreciate them. I appreciate them as a mom, as a resident, taxpayer, and as a board member. So to watch your child grow and get better, stronger, and confident every day is something that is very important to me, and I hope it's important to everybody else. So congratulations to our new hires and to our staff who have received promotions. Enjoy the last few days of this 2016-2017 school year. Thank you.
Thanks. In closing, I've said this before. We are a people-driven business. First of all, Ashley, thank you for reminding me why I'm here. Thank you. I don't know if you saw Mr. Campbell came up and shook my hand and gave me that grin, and I think at some level we actually get each other, so I do apologize, sir, if I was disrespectful in any way. That being said, kids first. Everybody up here has said it, and when we get up here and we talk about money, this is a people-driven business, and the most valuable resource we give our kids are our staff, support staff, and administration. I don't know, Jim, I'm not going to say a number. There, I'm on TV, but 85%, 80% of our budget goes to salaries. And to keep and retain the best teachers and the best administrators, they need to be paid. And people might not be leaving for taxes, or they may be, and you said some reasons, Ashley, I apologize, but they're going to leave as our teachers keep leaving. Because right now we're training some of these teachers, and this is the trend I see. I didn't read it in the Professional Journal or the Chronicle of Higher Ed. We are training these teachers, and Mr. Gilnell, you could jump in at any time. We're training them at a base salary for 3 to 4 years, giving them expertise, in-service, professional development to watch our best and brightest leave.
It's a problem, yes.
It's a problem because we can't pay $10,000 or $12,000 more like the school 8 to 10 miles up the road. So I believe in some of the numbers that were said tonight, and I hear the percentages that were said, but we need to retain the best people to put in front of our kids to make them the best and feel as valued as they do. And when we say the words, our teachers behind the scenes, our teachers are on the front line. These administrators are on the front line, the paraprofessionals, these are the front line people. That bus driver that picks you up, that's a front line person to our kids. And I'm never going to lose sight of that. And I believe that we need to pay these people to keep them here, and it's fair and it's just in a changing environment. And I believe in that in the educational world. And I just want to say that out loud. I'm sure I'll get yelled at later. Again, Ashley, thank you. I do apologize if my tone was crass. Please, everybody have a great night. I just want to go over some dates. June 2nd, Lake Riviera Middle School. If you have an 8th grader, it's the dance. June 6th is the Senior Awards Night at Brick Memorial High School at 6:30. June 12th is Vets Memorial Middle School 8th grade award ceremony at 6:30. June 14th to 19th, guys, please check your school websites for early dismissal. June 16th is the middle school promotion ceremony at 5 p.m. at Brick Memorial High School. June 16th at 5 and 7 is the Lake Riv ceremony. June 19th at 4 p.m. is the Brick Memorial graduation. June 19th at 6 p.m. is the Brick Township High School graduation. July 13th is our next regular scheduled meeting, and I know that you're going to have to caucus us for dates just to go over the projects to get out at the end of June. All right, I'd like to thank everybody for coming. Mary? I need a motion in a second.
Motion to
Motion first.
adjourn.
Daisy first, Victoria second, or Victoria first, Daisy second.
Mr. Barton?
Yes.
Ms. Bacala?
Yes.
Ms. Gagliardi?
Yes.
Ms. Hefner?
Yes.
Mr. Lamella?
Yes, thank you.
Lolita, I didn't even have to put my pen to the paper.
I know.